Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here, and my guest today is Rastus Hsu. Hi, Rastus.
Hello, Irina. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So you are in Taiwan, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's actually evening at the moment. It's 8 o'clock.
Right.
So it's dark outside.
Is that common to have male knitters in Taiwan? Like, is that something you see a lot, or are you the only one there?
Okay, actually, because when I started like knitting, uh, I studied about 2013. So at that time, I felt like I was like the minority, like a really minority here, because I didn't know any male knitters in Taiwan, because at that time, all I know is it's like my mother's generation.
Right.
So I didn't really know anything about knitting like or male knitter, but I did notice in recent year there are more and more male knitter appears in Taiwan, but they're more like in the background. They don't really go online to join the conversation or to show off their work. But then they often not secret in private they were sending messages to ask me questions or ask for advice. So I think at the moment they're still a bit hesitant to go outside and in public to let people know, okay, I'm a male knitter and I knit all the time. But yeah, but then I think they are out there.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
how did you start? How did you discover knitting, and how did you decide to give it a try?
Okay, actually, my mom she learned knitting when I was young, and she actually opened up a young shop when I was about 13 or 14. So I used to spend the time after school. I will go to her shop and then do my homework and then sitting with the ladies and they will knit there. So that's my first contact with the knitting. But once a while, I will pick up my mom's needles and yarn, but I never asked my mom to show me how to do it. I didn't know why, but then I just sit quietly and observe her movement. And then when she was away, I would pick up her needles and yarn and then just try to mimic her movement, and I would try to cast on and then try to knit some stitches.
Right.
So that's how my first experience with knitting. But then after that, of course, because the school pressure is quite high in Taiwan or in general Asian countries. So during the like high school period, we just focus on studying and getting to the university. So I completely forgot about knitting, or it's just not in my life at that time. And it all comes to after I finished my master degree, and I had to join the military. It's a 1-year military. At that time, we don't have a choice. It's our obligation to go to military. So I went on to the military, and I came back. Okay, with the military, I was sent to Central America for 1 year. And then after I came back to Taiwan, I had to start to look for a full-time job. But at that time, my friend, she got some like a fabric samples. So then she gave me those fabric samples, and I'm making try to make sew some scarf up, the patchwork, and then do some scarf. So then I thought, okay, before I find a full-time job, maybe I can sell those hand sew scarf in the handcraft market,
Mm-hmm.
and that went really well. So then one thing just developed to another, and then I decided, okay, I sort of remember how to knit. So then I decided to went on YouTube. At that time, just watched tons of tutorials online. And that's how I really got into knitting. And then I started to knit hats and scarves or cowls. And then I sell those in the handcraft market. And it just took off. The business there is very popular. So I stay in the handcraft market for 5 years. Yeah, so it was a different experience. Not what I was expected.
Well, so when you were selling back to those days, right? When you were working in the crafted market. So there is certain items that you can make that's fast, easy,
yes,
that look sort of impressive and will sell. Did you at that time, did you only need what's gonna sell? Like, did you try to challenge yourself? Did you try to do something like more complex?
Yeah, so it's quite a delicate balance because you want to try new things or you want to do more intricate work, but at the same time you can't really spend too much time to knit one item. So during the handcraft market time, I start with the fair isle work. So with the fair isle work, I only knit with like worsted weight yarn. And so the pattern will be bigger and it's faster to finish.
Right.
But I couldn't knit with like a fingering weight yarn or any more complicated stitch because it just took too long. And like every week, I would have to produce about 10, 15 beanies and about 5 to 10 cowls. So everything is just like a production line. You need to just keep knitting and you don't have time to stop or think or really design something new. So that's what happened in the market.
So how much time did you spend actually knitting during those days?
Okay, about 12 or 13 hours.
Wow.
Normally I got up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning and I just quickly, had a cup of tea and then eat something. And I would start knitting to noontime. After that, have a quick lunch, and then I will knit until 8 or 9. And that's every day. So Monday to Friday, that's my schedule at home. And Saturday and Sunday, then I will go to the craft market. But then in the craft market, I also knit there. So I'm just constantly producing out the hats and cowl to sell because that's the only way. How do you say? If you produce one more hat, you got one more opportunity to have income. Right. So it was quite difficult, but I did enjoy the process. So,
was it difficult for you, like for your hands, for your body? Like, did you feel like you were in pain from so much knitting?
At that time, I thought it was okay because I was 29 when I started the craft market. So at that time, I didn't feel too much strain on sometimes my shoulder will get a bit tired and then I will do some stretching and, do some exercise. And that seems can quickly ease, the pressure. But I don't think now I can make that amount of hours without feeling any discomfort. So, yeah.
So why did you stop that? Like, why you're not doing it now? How is that happening?
Okay, one thing is because I want to try different things. Because with the market, those 5 years, every winter I might design 1 or 2 new style, but then you basically just produce the same style like 40, 50 times. And in the end, you get a little bit tired.
Right.
And another thing is, in the market, there's a people come and go, and of course, there's a people who can knit will pass my stand and then will see me knitting. They will come and then they will ask, oh, do I sell the yarn or do I sell my design, my pattern? But then at that time, I didn't really think too much because when you're so focused on doing something, you couldn't really see out of the box. So at that time, I just say, oh no, I don't sell my patterns, I just sell my work. But then it's in 2017, I took 2 months break went to the UK to visit my husband's family. And it's those 2 months break make me think, oh, maybe I should change a direction. Maybe I should actually sell my design. And in Taiwan, I will put it up as a knitting kit because I realized there are knitters out there would like to make the design or make the work themselves.
Right.
So that's how I slowly, when we came back from the UK, we starting to try to shift our direction to more design and like a knitting kit and tutorials. So yeah.
Like the first design that you published, what was it?
Okay, they are Chinese and English. So Chinese design I started 2017, and it was one of the best sellers in the market. But then that one just in Chinese. But then in 2018 or 19, I published my first English design, and I got it here. So it's a skylar shawl. It's a 2-color, like a gradient shawl like this. Yeah, so this is my first English pattern, and it came out, and the response was really, really well. I was a little bit shocked of the response with this show. So yeah, so that's my first taste of publish the English pattern.
Right. How did you figure out how to write a pattern?
Well, because you read some, because you bought some pattern before, and then you try to
like mimic them.
You try to mimic how's the layout. Because one thing is because English is not my first language, so right. It is quite difficult for me to try to get a sense of the layout and then the wording and stuff. So I needed to read a lot patterns and then figure out how they word things and how to the instruction, how it's written. But so the first one, I actually did some charts for this, and there's no written instructions in this pattern because in Asia, or at least in Taiwan, most of the knitting patterns are influenced by Japanese knitting patterns. So in Japanese style, they do a lot of charts. The description is very minimum. So, but then I realized like the Western style, usually you will come in both. So like a written instruction and also a chart. So then I slowly shift to try to including those two instructions in the pattern. So,
well, what gave you the idea to go global? Like you're writing patterns, you're selling it to Chinese population, and it's not a small population either, right? Like we're talking, it's a huge country. Like, how do you decide to like, you know what, it's time to show the world Rastus?
Yeah, okay. The thing is, okay, in Taiwan, Taiwan is pretty a small island actually. Right. So there are about 23 million people here. With the Chinese knitting pattern and kits, so in Taiwan, I sell patterns and kits and tutorials, and it went really, it goes really well. So the people in Taiwan, they support me quite a lot, and I'm really grateful. And the reason I switched to want to go global is because it's just more opportunity. And at that time, I started Instagram about 2017, 15, 16 or 17. And but then at that time, I just show my work, just I design something and I will post it on Instagram. And then slowly more and more people start to ask me, oh, do I publish my patterns? And, they would like to knit that design. So then I then realize, oh, there are people in the world that interest in my design. Because when you only focus in Taiwan, you don't know the world outside. And only when you get into an international platform like Instagram to show the world your work, then you realize, oh, there are more people want to know you and your design. So then that's how I start thinking maybe I could try to do that. Yeah.
So when you started selling patterns and selling kits, I mean, you were trying to transform your business from the marketplace into something more like sit at home, right, create and then sell it to the world,
Yeah.
right? How fast could you move from the market to the virtual place?
Okay, the transition period was painful because I didn't know if I sometimes I say we because in the knitting kits, my husband helped me now, and then he helped with the design and with the color combination ideas. So now we work on these together. But then in the market, because I had to produce so much work each week, I didn't want to just let the market go because we got a lot of old customers will come back every year to support my work. So I didn't want to let that go. And I didn't know how the patterns and kits will they take off or not. Right. So the first year, I actually juggled two things together. So I put out the kits and at the same time, I need to produce work for the market. And it's only the end of the first winter, I thought, okay, the kit seems also is a possibility to keep growing and become stable. So then the second year, I let go a little bit the market. I didn't let it go completely, but I just produced less work to sell in the market, and then try to design more for the kids and to film the tutorials. So that's the second year. And then the third year, I let the market completely go and just solely focus on the patterns and knitting kits.
Did you ever doubt yourself that you're doing the right thing? Like you had the booming business, you had something established, you had returning customers, and suddenly you're trying to like drop it all and just do completely something different. Like, did you ever doubt yourself?
Well, I think I doubt myself quite often because the thing is things change a lot. And like you said, when you have something, really stable and then bring in the stable income, it's quite difficult to take the risk and go out your comfort zone and try something new. So I think that's why I didn't just give up the market straight away and jump in. Because I believe there are some people who just give up that and then just jump into these 100%. But I decided to take it slow and see where this lead. And once I know, okay, it's possible and people's response are also very well, then I make the shift to another direction. But it is very stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned your husband a few times that he's helping you with business. What was his role during that transition? Like, was he supportive? Was he trying to talk you into it, out of it? Like, where was he standing on that?
Okay, actually, my husband's personality is even more safe, is even safer than me. So the time I mentioned like, oh, I would like to shift the market work to the knitting kits. He actually was the one more hesitant than me. But then once we shift, he is actually quite happy. And, that means we didn't need to knit all the time to just like a factory to produce work. And he actually can help out more because he helped to pack the kits. And but then the thing is, there are only limited things he can help because everything is in Chinese, and he's Chinese. He can't really communicate or read Chinese. So all he can does is to we will talk about design together, and his colors sense of color is, I would think it's better than me. So then he will help decide to put the color together, and then we will do for example, if it's a fair isle pattern, we will do the chart together, and so then he will help in that way. Yeah.
Is he a knitter or does he knit? Does he knit?
Oh, he's a knitter. Okay. Yeah, he knit as well. But I told him how to knit during the market time. It was actually quite funny because usually I will sit on the sofa and put on a TV show without the knitting. I will just knit, watch the TV, and then watch the program and produce a hat or a cowl. So one day he came in and then he said, "Oh, your work is like really relaxing. You can just sit, watch TV, watch the things, or listen to the music, and then you can relax and knit, produce work on the weekend, go to sell, your knitting work. And I want to do that as well." So then I thought, okay, I teach you how to knit. So then, but then he enjoys knitting, but only knit, stitch, and ribbon. So what we would do is I will cast on stitches. For example, if it's a hat, I will cast on stitches for him. So I pass to him, and he will do one by one rib. And then after rib, I will reduce to the body, and then pass back to him. He will knit the body in stockinette, and then reduce, and then passing back to me. I do the magic loop to close up the hat. Right. So then it's just like a go back and fold, and it seems to work for us.
And you match your tension to his.
Yeah, our tension is quite similar.
That's
and
amazing.
The funny thing is, because he is left-handed and I'm right-handed, I learned with the English style. Right. So then when I told him, I told him English style. So then he actually learned how to throw the yarn. But then everything else he does with his left hand. So that's quite interesting as well.
Well, let's talk about your designs. So we're not like, when I look at your designs, they're not that simple any longer. Like, you're going all out with the designs. They're beautiful, complex things. So tell me about that, like your journey as a designer.
Yeah. The thing is with the knitting, okay, my inspiration usually is quite I won't say simple, but then it's more like a modern, and I want to use a simple concept to create a more intricate looking work. So when you really look at my work, okay, some are really big, like a big shawl, a very long scarf, but then the stitch is actually quite simple. For example, like the shawl, this Skylar shawl, it is very big project. And when people first saw the pattern, you need to, because it's cast on the length way, so you need to cast on like 600 stitches, and then you will knit this way. But then actually the whole scarf is only knit and slip stitches. So once you cast on, you can just relax and just keep doing the garter stitch and then do the slip stitch. And so I feel like I didn't want to design something like very, very complicated that people cannot but people start and cannot finish. But try to think of a way to make the design more unique and more modern. And when you finish it, people look at it will think, okay, it looks very complicated, but actually it's not that complicated.
Right.
So yeah.
So when you write the pattern, I mean, there's always this question of how much do you explain to your audience? Do you start with like the exact type of custom? Do you take them like by hand? Any novice can make your thing? Or do you assume that people know the basics and you just concentrate on like crucial details? Like, what's your approach to writing a pattern?
Yeah, because at the moment my work, I only put out accessories, so it's either hat or beanie or scarf. I haven't ventured out to garment yet. So with the accessory, I thought the cast on method or construction, it's quite simple. So with a hat, for example, I will use, if it's a ribbon, normally I go for tubular cast on or German twist cast on. And with those, I would just write down what cast on method I use. But then I would try to choose a cast on that people can easily find on YouTube if they never try, for example, one by one tubular cast on. They can easily find a tutorial on YouTube so that they can learn how to do that cast on. Or if they want to just opt to the cast on they are more comfortable with, they can do that as well. So, or if it's a triangle show, I would do a basic like a garter top triangle show, or just cast on 3 stitches and slowly increasing out to the triangle show. So at the moment, the design is not very, there's still a lot of constructions I can, try to experiment and try to bring out as a design. So I'm trying to try to do that.
Well, so like when you were working at the market, you were creating something that was easily sellable, fast to make, right? What's your approach to design now? Like, are you trying to design things that, like ideas that come to mind as artist, or are you trying to create things that you think will sell, are easy to make, fast to make? Like, what's your approach to design?
Okay, I would take consideration both. I would say sometimes I will do something, or if the inspiration comes to me and I really want to make that project, I wouldn't really think about how easy it can be to translate into a pattern and sell it as a pattern. So usually I will work those projects, maybe 1 or 2 this type of project a year, but it's only for my personal use.
Right.
And then the other part, I will try to design something that I know it could be popular, or it's more people like those type of technique, and I will try to incorporate what's on trend as well. So then I will go through the fashion show and then try to look at the pictures and get the inspiration. And for example, what color is popular or in this season, and I will try to incorporate that in the design as well. So
let's talk about your Instagram for a second. So I usually just scroll and then somebody just like stops me in my tracks and I'm like, oh my God, who is that, right?
Oh.
That was you. So your photography, just like, you feel like you're a runway model. Like when I look through your photography, it's like really has that sort of sass of a model. How do you come up with the ideas of like how you're gonna take a picture?
I don't know. Okay, I grew up watching American Next Top Model. That was my favorite show. So anyway, I always interest into the fashion world. When I was 13, I went out to buy my first fashion magazine, and that time I was like a weirdo. You know, all my classmates, they are reading comic books, and then when I went out to buy a fashion magazine, and I will look at the photos, and then so I always likes to take photos as well. So I like go out to take photos or being taken, so I like both. And so when I start need to show off my work, on Instagram or even just online, on the Facebook fan page, I always try to think how you can translate your work or your idea, or even just create a feeling, a lifestyle to the people who see your work or see your photos. Because I think a knitwear is not just simply a knitwear. It affects our mood. Depending on how we feel, we might want to wear this color, or we might want to wear this particular style. So that's what's in my mind. Like if I wear this work or this design, what sort of mood would I be in? And I will want to communicate this idea with my audience as well. So
well, you're doing it brilliantly, I must tell you, because when I invited you to Knitters Gonna Knit group on Facebook, and the first picture you posted was that cabled hat. Everybody went nuts. I mean, that was like the most viewed post of the week.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because that hat was a design. I really like that feel as well, because it's just it's this one. I show it. It's like this twisted. I don't know if it's quite dark, because I like this because you can wear it with like a denim jacket or with a jeans, and you can put this this beanie on, and it just create like a very easygoing look, and that's why I'm trying to do. I went out that day with my husband. We went out for a nice meal, and then we had a walk along the river. And then I was putting on this hat and wear a jacket with a bag, and then so we just all take some photos, and it came out exactly what I want to say with this work.
Right.
So
I mean, it's also like brilliant because it's most of your designs, I feel like they very unisex, and depending on the colors you choose and the outfit you use it with, it can be worn by anybody.
Yeah, because okay, when I design something, I always thinking of course I will need something I like or choose the color I like, but I also will think if I need this item, can I wear it as well? Because all my time is dedicated into designing and actually knitting the work. I don't really have time to knit things really for myself. So, for example, I got at least 3 or 4 ideas of a jumper I want to make for myself, but then I just didn't have time to put it into action because there's the new design I need to finish. There's some collaboration I need to finish. So I just keep postponed my own design that I want to knit for myself back. Right. So that was quite difficult. So that's why with the work, if I'm gonna bring out as a kit or a design, I tend to think I want to wear it as well, and maybe that's why it's more like a gender neutral gender style. Yeah. Right.
Well, you have this one shawl that like I'm definitely knitting it the next year at some point because it's just gorgeous, and it's huge. It's a triangular shawl. It's like the size of God. Do you wear it? Is that something you would wear?
I would like to wear that, but then that one sold. So someone, as soon as I post the photo out, what happened is those 5 years in the handcraft market, I built up quite a lot of customers from the market. So every year they still will come back to my fan page, the Facebook fan page, and they will ask me what new work I produced this year, and then they would like to have a look, and then they will want to purchase it. And so that's I think it's an eco show you were talking about. It's a black and light gray, stripe. And so when I post that photo, so there's a people just contact me, say, oh, they really want to buy that show. And so that one just went to someone who really love it. And I'm happy, like, they happen as well.
So when you see people knitting your designs, what does it feel like?
First of all, at the beginning, it's a bit surreal because as a designer at the beginning, I didn't really know how this will develop, and I just thought, okay, I put out the work and then just see how it goes. But then when there are more response coming back to me, and then people actually finish the items and they will took photos and put it online and tag me, and then they're happy with the design and they say, oh, they will wear it a lot this winter, or they're even knitting to give to their friends or families. And it's a really nice feeling that your vision or your aesthetic really convey to other people, and then other people can see or can agree with how you see a design. So it's a really nice feeling.
Are you ever surprised by their color choices?
Sometimes, but then I think in the craft market, I've been trained to know there are colors for everyone. So they are not good. I'm quite open-minded. So I know there's colors I like and I'm comfortable wearing. But then I know to other people, there are some colors they like, or the combination they like to put together, and they actually feel comfortable about it. So now I don't really, think too much about if I see a color choice that, normally it wouldn't be my, choice, but I just thought if they are happy with the work and they will wear it a lot, then I'm happy as well.
Right. Well, have you ever seen somebody using some colors and you're like, gosh, why didn't I use those colors?
Yes. Yeah, that happened as well. So again, sometimes you just your first instinct is say, okay, that color wouldn't go well with that color, and then you just have that idea. You don't know where that comes from. You just got that feeling. But then once you see, okay, for example, the kits we sell in Taiwan. So sometimes the customer, they will choose 2-color combination. And I will think, oh, I didn't know if I should let them know. I don't know if those 2 colors will work or not. But I feel like I shouldn't intervene with the color choice because maybe they really like those colors together. So then I will, so they will knit with those 2 colors, and then they will show when they finish, they will take a photo and show me, and I will like shocked, say, oh, didn't know those 2 colors could work so well. And it make me think, oh, maybe next design I could try to incorporate those combinations. So it is very interesting. People also open up your mind to things, but I think that way you learn more that way. Then you keep your open-minded, and you got more information coming in and accept it. So
who are your yarn suppliers? Like, where do you get yarn for those kits? Do you work with some particular manufacturers, or do you like try doing it with different people?
No, so the yarn supplier actually is a factory. So they produce yarn, but then they also sell their own yarn. but then we just directly have a relationship with them. So the factory is in China, and so yeah, we have a relationship with them. So then if they got a new yarn, they will contact us or send me some samples, see if I would like to use it. And yeah, so and some are suppliers in Taiwan. So I tend to use the yarn that I'm familiar with to, at least for Taiwanese for a Chinese kit. But then for English pattern, I try to use more international brand yarn, because some yarn is quite difficult to get in Taiwan, and that's why I choose the yarn that people they either can get in Taiwan, or they can get it from me. I can order the yarn for them. But then because if it's a worldwide international or English pattern, then it's easier to try out different brands or different yarn. And yeah, I quite enjoy that process as well. Try to look for a new yarn and then design and then bring out as a English pattern. So yeah.
What's your relationship with Instagram? Like, how do you use it? How much time do you spend there? Who did you meet there?
I spent lots of times. I didn't spend a lot of time before. So before, it just like maybe one day, post one photo, and I would just leave it. And then maybe after a few hours, I go back and then just answer some questions, or but then I think if you are on Instagram, you are aware their algorithm change. That seems like what everyone is talking about now. And so they change it to a way that now you really need to invest a lot of time to spend on Instagram or to produce a content. And I'm still trying to find the balance in both, because as a designer, you already spend a lot of time in designing and making your work and writing the patterns. So it's hard to find more times to go on the social media or try to film a reel, or to post on Instagram, because all those will take at least 1 or 2 hours every day of your life just to film that 15 seconds. But the one thing I did enjoy though is I realized I had more interaction with people now, and I think it's not a bad thing for me, at least, because I found out in that way I know what's people's idea about my work, or do they really like it? And I feel it's bring me and the people closer online, and I getting to know more people as well. And I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing for me, because the knitting community, it could be quite big, and everything, it's quite difficult to connect. Or what I mean is, before, it's quite difficult to connect, because if you don't spend much time in this community, then you can't really engage with people. But then now, because I spend quite some time on Instagram leaving comments, and actually not just quickly scroll and like, I actually look at the pictures or people's work and think or analyze their photos and leave a comment or a meaningful comment. And I think that's bring in more interaction with other knitters, and I think that's a good thing.
Do you find inspirations on Instagram? Do you, like, when you look at other people's work, does it give you ideas of designs?
Yeah, all the time. So then I often like I will go to like explore and then just scroll down and then see if there's any new people I can follow or I see the work I like. Normally, what caught my eye is a texture or like a cable and fair isle. Those are three things I really love. And so normally if I see those, I will stop and then try to figure out the cable. If it's a cable pattern, I try to figure out the cable and then how it works. And then, yeah, and then I will try to see how I can translate that in my own style and voice and create it or incorporate it into my work as well. So there are just lots of inspiration on Instagram or even just on the street. I think it's an inspiration everywhere.
Well, now that you look back at everything you achieved so far, and we're talking like you still probably consider yourself just starting.
Yeah, I do.
Life before knitting, like, I mean, can you imagine your life without knitting?
No, not at all. I always okay when I wanted to be either a translator, interpreter, or actually a diplomat. So that was my first goal. I studied Spanish in university, so that was my major. And then in the master, I did translation in Spanish and Chinese and also Hispanic cultures. So I always thought language is the way I will, pursue my career. So, but then after the military, then the knitting happens, and then it just took me to a completely different direction. But I have to say, because a lot of people in the market, there are people come over, will chat with me, and they will say, "Oh, I learned Spanish, the language. How come I'm not doing knitting now? And what I learned, was it just a waste of time?" But then actually, those because I can speak Spanish and also English and understand their culture, I can actually navigate more sources in the world. So actually, for me, I think it's a advantage for me to can read the patterns from Central America or Latin America and also the English-speaking countries, and then try to learn from different technique or try to learn different styles. And I think it's in the end, I don't think it's a waste of time.
I mean, I honestly, like, I'm a deep believer that education is never a waste of time of any kind.
No.
Anything you learn, never a waste of time.
It's all how you use it as a tool to become your tool to develop as a as a person. So yeah, it's not a waste of time.
You are the Taiwan's ambassador to the world of knitting, consider yourself.
Yeah, I try to try to introduce Taiwan to to the world, because we are such a tiny island, and then we usually be overshadowed by again, I don't want to get in too much to it, but it's a political issue with China and Taiwan, and so then any opportunity I have, then I would like to just proudly say to people, yes, I'm from Taiwan, and it's a lovely little island. So yeah.
Well, I'm so glad we've met on Instagram, and I love following your progress, and you have beautiful patterns. And thank you so much for being my guest today, the guest of my show.
No, thank you for having me.
Okay, hold on.